The origin of beliefs. Introduction. The invisible architecture of the human mind. Belief is one of the most powerful forces shaping human existence. It governs our choices, defines our morals, builds civilization, and destroys them. Yet, for something so influential, belief itself is rarely questioned at its root. Where do beliefs come from? Why do humans believe in things they cannot see, verify, or prove? And more importantly, are beliefs discovered or are they created? This exploration is not about attacking belief, but about understanding its origin, historically, psychologically, and logically. Point number 1. The birth of belief. Fear, survival, and the unknown. Long before written history, early humans lived in a world filled with uncertainty. Thunder roared without warning. Lightning split the sky. The sun disappeared every night, and death lurked in every shadow. Without scientific understanding, the human mind did what it does best. It created meaning. A loud thunder was not just a sound. It became the voice of a powerful being. A storm was not just weather. It was anger. Death was not an end. It had to be a transition. Why? Because uncertainty is uncomfortable. The human brain is wired to prefer a wrong explanation over no explanation at all. Belief in its earliest form was a survival mechanism, a way to reduce fear. This is where belief begins, not with truth, but with the need for comfort and control. Point number 2. Pattern recognition. The brain's greatest trick. Humans are pattern-seeking creatures. This ability helped our ancestors survive. If rustling bushes once meant a predator, recognizing that pattern again could mean life or death. But this powerful ability comes with a flaw. We often see patterns where none exists. If rain follows a ritual, the ritual is believed to cause rain. If survival follows a prayer, the prayer is credited. If tragedy follows a sin, the sin becomes the cause. This is called false causation, a key information of many beliefs. Early humans connected unrelated events and built stories around them. Over time, these stories hardened into tradition, and traditions into unquestioned truths. Belief then is not always born from reality. It is often born from misinterpreted patterns. Point number 3. The rise of storytelling and myth. As language developed, so did storytelling. Stories became tools, not just for entertainment, but for teaching, controlling, and preserving culture. Myths emerged as structured beliefs. Creation stories explain the origin of the world. Moral tales defined good and evil. Spiritual narratives gave purpose to suffering and death. These stories were powerful because they answered deep human questions. Why are we here? What happens after we die? Why do bad things happen? But here is the critical point. These answers were created long before evidence was available. Beliefs became embedded, not because they were proven, but because they were repeated. Point number 4. Authority and the institutionalization of belief. As societies grew, beliefs evolved from personal ideas into organized systems. Leaders, priests, and rulers recognized something profound. Control belief, and you control behavior. Religious and cultural systems began to formalize belief into doctrines. These doctrines were no longer optional. They became rules. Questioning belief became dangerous. Obedience became virtue. Doubt became sin. Why? Because stable society requires shared beliefs, whether true or not. Belief creates unity, and unity creates order. But there is a trade-off. When belief becomes institutionalized, it often resists change, even in the face of a new evidence. Point number 5. The psychology of belief. Why do we hold on? Even today, with access to science and information, beliefs remain incredibly strong. Why? Because belief is not just intellectual, it is emotional. Beliefs are tied to identity. This is whom I am. Community. This is where I belong. Security. This gives me meaning. When a belief is challenged, it feels like a personal attack. The brain's response defensively, not logically. This is known as cognitive dissonance, the discomfort of holding conflicting ideas. To reduce this discomfort, people often reject new evidence, strengthen existing beliefs, seek confirmation rather than truth. Belief, therefore, is not always about what is true. It is about what feels safe. Point number 6. Historical evidence. How beliefs have changed. One of the strongest logical arguments about origin of belief is this: beliefs change. At different points in history, people firmly believed that the earth was flat. The sun revolved around the earth. Illness was caused by evil spirits. Kings ruled by divine right. These beliefs were not seen as options. They were seen as absolute truth. But over time, evidence replaced them. This raises a critical question. If past beliefs were wrong, what makes current beliefs immune to the same fate? History shows that belief is not static truth. It is evolving interpretation. Point number 7. Logic versus belief. Where they clash. Logic demands evidence, consistency, and testability. Belief often thrives without these requirements. This creates tension. For example, logic asks, what proof exists? Belief asks, what feels true? Logic changes with new information. Belief often resists change. This does not mean belief is useless. In fact, belief can inspire hope, courage, and purpose. But when belief replaces critical thinking, it becomes dangerous. The key issue is not belief itself, but unexamined belief. Point number 8. The role of culture and the environment. No one is born with beliefs. Every belief is learned. A child born in one part of the world will likely adopt the dominant belief of that environment. Place the same child in a different culture, and the beliefs will be completely different. This suggests something important. Beliefs are not universal truth, but are often cultural inheritances. What we believe is less about objective reality and more about exposure. This does not automatically make beliefs false, but it challenges the idea that they are absolute. Point number 9. The comfort of certainty. Uncertainty is one of the hardest things for human minds to tolerate. Belief offers certainty. It provides answers where none exist. It gives structure to chaos. It promises meaning in a seemingly random universe. This is why beliefs persist even when evidence is weak. The question is not just, is this true? But also, do I need this to feel secure? Understanding this distinction is key to understanding belief itself. Point number 10. So, what is the origin of belief? Putting everything together, belief originates from a combination of fear of the unknown, pattern recognition and misinterpretation, storytelling and cultural transmission, authority and social structure, psychological need for certainty and identity. Belief is not a single invention. It is an evolving product of human condition. It is shaped by environment, reinforced by society, and protected by emotion. In conclusion, between truth and meaning, belief is neither entirely false nor entirely true. It exists in a complex space between reality and perception. Some beliefs lead to discovery, others limit it. The challenge is not to eliminate belief, but to examine it. To ask, why do I believe this? What evidence supports it? And am I open to being wrong? Because the true danger is not belief itself, it is believing without questioning. And the true power of the human mind is not in what it believes, but in its ability to rethink. Final thought: if belief can be created, it can also be changed. And if it can be changed, then perhaps the most important belief of all is this: that truth is not something we inherit, it is something we pursue.